case you didn't know, there was a lot of changes that happened in the offseason in Formula One. Their season's kicking off this weekend in Bahrain, so I figured no better time than to discuss all of that and the 3 days of testing, because we did get to see some stuff and learn some stuff during that as well. And this way, I don't have to talk about it as much on Friday, which means the episode won't be 3 years long. But a lot of new people in new faces in new places. We have old faces in new places. We have you know a lot of moving parts to go with all of it. Very few teams didn't have any changes. Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Alfa Romeo had no changes. So Red Bull still has Max Verstappen and Checo Perez. Ferrari still has Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, and Mercedes still has Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, and Alfa Romeo still has Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas, which I think, obviously, they make good combinations, and I didn't think at least the big three were going to do any changes no matter what at any point during the season last year. And Alfa Romeo didn't look half bad. I mean, there's some things they have to work on. There's a lot of things a lot of people have to work on. But outside of that, Alpine has added Pierre Gasly to be Esteban Ocon's teammate with the departure of Fernando Alonso. And anyone that watched F1 knows that move needed to happen even sooner. And it did, because they just weren't getting along. They weren't meshing. It was a very ugly divorce, and they needed to get rid of one another. And I think it's going to be good for both parties now that they aren't near each other. Only time will tell, but I think it'll work out. McLaren added Oscar Piastri to be Lando Norris's teammate after the departure of Daniel Ricciardo, who is now the reserve driver for his old team at Red Bull. So hopefully that leads to something for him, because I think he's super talented. I don't think it was him. I mean, they've had one top 10 in like the last 3,000 years. Win, maybe? No, one win. And it was him. And then they fired him the next year. I mean, your team's down. Pretty sure it's not him, but hopefully that turns something good for him at Red Bull, because he did have a lot of good years with Red Bull not that long ago. Again, Alfa Romeo staying with Zhou Guanyu and Valtteri Bottas. Aston Martin signed Fernando Alonso after he left Alpine to be Lance Stroll's teammate after the retirement of Sebastian Vettel. That's still going to be weird to not see Seabass on a Formula One grid, but he gave a lot of years. He was great for the sport, and I hope he enjoys every bit of his retirement. He's earned it. And to lose Sebastian Vettel and gain Fernando Alonso, I mean, that's a good swap. Former champion. I think, again, team orders, all kinds of stuff. Now that he's out of there, I think it's going to be very exciting to see what he can do, as they wanted him gone so bad. They got their wish. We'll see. Haas signed Nico Hulkenberg to be teammates Kevin Magnussen if they got rid of Mick Schumacher, who is now the reserve driver for Mercedes. I'm a Mick Schumacher guy. I was a Michael Schumacher guy. That's probably a big part of it. But I mean, he started off good. He got points. His first ever points that he did in back-to-back races, and then it just completely fell off a cliff. So, Kevin Magnussen, who they brought in after years of not being there, ended up being the right call and doing better for the team. So, see how that dynamic works out, because we know there's some tension in there with K-Mag and Haas and all that, but we'll figure all that stuff out. Hopefully they figure it out. American team right there. They got to get it together for us, for Old Glory. AlphaTauri signed Nick DeVries, or DeVries, however I've heard it both ways, to be teammates with Yuki Tsunoda after the departure of Pierre Gasly to go to Alpine, which, again, I'm really, because he ran good, Nick DeVries in that one race he ran with Williams, I believe it was. He was very impressive. So the kid's got a lot of talent. We just have to see what he can do with AlphaTauri this year and see how Yuki Tsunoda, has progressed in his career, and if he can help him, they work together. We'll see how that goes. I think that'll be a good one. Then Williams signed Logan Sargent to be Alex Albon's teammate. Young American guy, got enough points through F2 last year to get a super license. I'm really stoked to see what he can do. To get a young American in F1, I mean, there's not a lot. It's a very elite club, F1, so it's pretty cool to see, what he can do. I hope he does good, and hope it's, an improvement for Williams, because they need it. They've had a pretty long bad run, so we'll see how that works out. But then testing, there was lots of testing. Some of these things shouldn't surprise you. Some of them might, but most importantly, Max Verstappen, testing day number one, was still the fastest person there, and that shouldn't surprise anybody. It was only about 0.029 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso in that Aston Martin, but Max Verstappen on the top of the grid should surprise no one. He also ran a crazy amount of laps, at the same time there, so you could tell they were working on a lot of different stuff. He ran 157 laps. Closest person to him was Lewis Hamilton at 83, so he damn near doubled the next closest person. And with everything, with how Mercedes ran last year and Lewis not getting the win and all of that, I'm not surprised he ran the second most amount of laps. I just think there's stuff that they need to keep working on and working on and working on. And when you got 3 days to test, why not? I hope they run a lot better this year. Only time will tell. I think they looked much better at the end of the year. So hopefully, they continue to gain so they can keep getting better. Sooner or later, it'll swing back. It's just how many damn races will Max win before he gets to, for the swing back comes. But the Ferraris were third and fourth on day one, with sides outdoing teammate Charles Leclerc by 0.014 seconds. So they're right on top of each other as well. Logan Sargent was 10th in his first testing day. Nick DeVries 14th in his first testing day, and Oscar Piastri was 18th out of the 19 that ran. Day two, we got to see Joe Guan Yu. Good for him. First on day two after running 132 laps. So you can tell they were working on a lot of stuff too. And again, they were up and down, so it makes sense, but it's good to see his name on the top of the boards, especially as Max was second. So he did outdo Max. It's not like he didn't run that day after Nick, and he only ran 47 laps and was 0.04 of a second behind. DeVries was fourth after 74 laps, but over half a second back. Nico Hülkenberg was fifth. Logan Sargent seventh. Piastri ninth. Logan Sargent with the most laps at 154. Joe ran 132, and Fernando Alonso ran 130. And again, new team, new all of that. They worked with Seabass last year and be Sebastian Vettel. For those who don't know that, so there's moving parts you got to figure out, that, and everyone prefers different stuff, to how they drive. So that one makes a lot of sense. And then day three, we got to see Checo Perez was first on day three by 0.359 seconds over Lewis Hamilton after he ran 133 laps. Sadly, Piastri and DeVries were 16th and 17th. Max didn't take a lap, which should scare people that he went from that many to on day one to as low as he did on day two, and then not running anything on day three. I didn't watch it, but him cutting back that much, I think they know what they have. Everyone knows what they have. It's theirs to lose. Anyone that says otherwise is crazier than me, and that's actually saying something. And Joe Guan Yu also did not run any laps, but when it comes down to the manufacturers, instructors as they're called in F1, Red Bull ran the fastest lap. They had over 0.3 faster than the next one, which was Mercedes. Alpine was last, which isn't a good sign for 3 days, but we'll see. Williams and Aston Martin were 2.4 seconds faster than last year's testing, which is that's a big gain. So that's good. Really, again, I want everyone to get, and Aston Martin having Fernando Alonso, I think, is a big jump. And last year was the first year with the cars, the new car, so everyone's figuring more stuff out as we go. But good to see them up there and running faster. Alfa Romeo was 2.2 seconds faster. Mercedes was 2.1. AlphaTauri 1.7. Red Bull 1.4 seconds, faster, which is terrifying because look how much faster they were than the whole entire world last year. So even if they pick up, Williams and Aston Martin picking up 2.4 seconds. I mean, with Red Bull getting 1.4 faster than last year, that still puts them seconds ahead of them. So I don't see much different, result this year than I did last year, sadly, but it'll be good racing behind them. Ferrari's 1.4. McLaren was a second faster. Haas was 0.9 of a second. Alpine was the only one that had something to be worried about because they were 0.06 of a second slower than last year. But again, new people in their driving, trying new things. New driver always does that. One of them came in to be teammates there. Fernando Alonso left pissed and is taking over for Seabass, and I think he's just angry and has something to prove, which does help, certainly. But Aston Martin might also have better cars. We'll just have to wait and see how it works out this year. But again, a lot of moving parts, a lot of new people, a lot of people bounced around again. It'll be the first time that I'll be able to remember watching. I know I watched it back in the day. But this will be the first time I'll remember watching F1 and not seeing Sebastian Vettel on the grid. That's just, I'm sure we'll see him at some point this year, but that's just really weird to me. I, never thought I'd actually, see the man retire. He's one of those. Every sport has him. So hopefully, he's enjoying his retirement again. And the season should be really good, going into it. Finally kicking off this weekend, just like IndyCar, a lot of stuff this weekend. But I mean, I expect Max Verstappen and the Red Bulls, Max Verstappen to be way faster than everyone, and then Checo being, right there, second through fourth or fifth, normally right there, and him to be a little faster. I would say Mercedes and Ferrari, but they were all very competitive with each other last year, and I don't see that being any different this year. I just, Max was miles ahead of everyone last year, including his own teammate. So, I don't expect any different. I think people will be closer, and I think there will be certain tracks where what the other cars are good at and are better suited to. The other constructors will be an advantage because I think everyone will have gotten better. But if it wasn't for Monaco, which you can't pass, some retirements, some cars blowing up on him. I mean, he really barely had anyone even in the same zip code as him. So hopefully people are closer. I honestly hope that those seconds there, including, the 1.4 for them also means Checo is that much faster, which means everyone could be closer to Max because he ran away with it if you watched it last year. I just don't think it's going to be anything different. I do want to see if Lewis Hamilton can get a victory. I want to see what Carlos can do. And I really, again, want to see, all these people in new places, Fernando Alonso, I want to see him outdo the Alpines just personally. I want to see that. And I want Checo to be closer to Max. Like, I really want him to be closer to Max Verstappen, knock him down every once in a while because last year, if you look at the points, like it wasn't even a question. I think just look at the one, I believe it was in the race in Japan where he won by like a year and a half in the rain. It was just astronomical, the like zone that he was in the cars he had. So time will tell. We'll see, but we'll find out soon enough because this weekend is the first race. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget YouTube, Apple and Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, where you can donate and help the show out and grow. I'll be back on Friday. So enjoy the rest of your week. Share this out. Peace. I'm out. Bye.